Hello guys, welcome to the Tropical Boy channel. I have been receiving lots of requests for tutorials about character modeling, and initially I had planned to do a tutorial, real-time tutorial actually, and explaining all my workflow, and I chose a very simple and popular character to model, and I believed it would be faster and I would be able to do a tutorial. But even this simple character, it took a long time, so I did two videos, one faster and one slower. This one where I would explain some of the techniques I use and give you some tips about character modeling that I hope you improve your modeling and you learn something. Actually, to do character modeling, we don't use any special technique or any special tools. You use just, most of the time you would use the extrude tool and the extrude inner tool. That are the two basic tools that you need to learn and master to do character modeling. Sometimes you would use other tools to refine your model, but most of the time that this would be the two tools you would use most. What is important about character modeling is to understand the shape of your character in 3 dimensions, and you have fully understand on how this character would look from the top, from the left, from bottom, in perspective. You may have noticed that not like my other videos. If you have watched my videos, if you don't, I suggest you to take a look at them. I don't, on my videos, I usually don't use any references. At least I don't produce references, but I usually do some rough sketches to give me some roadmap, some direction where to go. But I like to have some degree of freedom to improvise and do my own stuff during the modeling process. But usually, if you're working professionally on our studio, you would have like this video, a character model sheet, and the model sheets usually have the character draw in different angles. The most important is like this one, the front and a side view, but some character model sheets may have other sides as well, perspective from the top, from the back, and so on and so forth. But you would do like I did here. You would use the command configure on the viewport. You have this configure. Let me see exactly what is the command, and then you would on the front view, on the side view, you would use the tab, the view tab, and you would select your model sheet picture, and you would put this on the background, and you would model in the front, and so it would give you a guide for the shape of the character. And this is what I'm doing. Sometimes I change for the perspective view to take a look at the other sides, but I would all the time consult the front view and the side view to see if the character fits the design, the character design. And you may have noticed as well that one important tool to use is the symmetry object, because usually characters are kind of symmetrical, and even if they not, most of the time they are. And if you want to break the symmetry for some reason to make a less boring character, you may model it with the symmetry tool, and when you're ready, when you're finished it, you would convert it for a regular polygonal object, and then you would be able to change one side and break the symmetry if you wish. But most of the time the characters are asymmetrical, so you would use the symmetry objects like I'm using here. Another detail that's very important for character modeling is to keep your polygon count as low as possible, and just to create new polygons, new geometry, if it's really necessary, for two reasons. First of all, because your viewports will be much faster, and the second one is with less geometry, it's easier to control the shape of your character. You would have less points and polygons and edges and all this stuff to worry about, and so you always will be looking where it's really necessary to create new geometry, and then you would create just at this place. And then with the subdivision model, and what is great about this workflow is that with just few polygons and the subdivision object, you would be able to generate different resolution characters. For example, if you're doing a character that would be on a game, or and also in a movie where you would need more detail, or in a mobile game, for example, that you have to render it in real time, and so you have to have an optimized character. With the subdivision model, you can generate different resolution characters, and if you have a low poly character from start, it would be easier for you to generate these different resolution characters. Another thing that it's important to think since the beginning of the process, the modeling process, is to not just keep the model as low polygon as possible, but also to use whenever possible squares and polygonal four sides polygons, and not angles, not triangles, but four side polygons, rectangles, squares, always four sides polygons. This is something that changes from app to app, but Cinema 4D prefers four side polygons. Some other software may prefer triangles, but Cinema 4D prefers four side polygons. And it's especially important if you want to animate this character, rig this character, and deform this character. Even if you're not using like bones or joints, if you want to use deformers, or you want to change the shape of your character in any way, it would be easier and it will deform better if your character is mostly built in four-side polygons. If you have triangles, if you have angles, you may have some trouble with the Phong tag and the Phong, and you have some issues on the geometry. So if you sometimes you cannot escape to use like triangles in some places, but try to put this triangles, this not four-sided polygons, on areas of your character that want to form. like it depends on the character. You try to think that that region of the character will not deform very much. If it would deform, very not it will not be a lot deformed. So the issues may be acceptable. Other thing that it's good to know about character modeling and think when you're modeling a character, and like if you're using most of the time quadrangles or four-sided polygons, try to imagine your character simplified, just made of the squares. If you would draw this character with a square, how it will be. It will give you some clues about the initial shape of your starting point to achieve that shape of this character. So try to think how this character would look if I draw it just with squares. Another important thing to remember is although you're using a computer to draw and using squares and geometry and things like that, you have to it's good if you have some understanding about anatomy, human anatomy, or animals anatomy or anything, because your character, if it's a human shape or an animal or anything, and it would deform and it would have expressions and it would change, and you have to reproduce, especially important if you're doing some kind of realistic character, to keep the shapes, the polygons, the edge flows similar to how they would be on a real creature, on a human or a creature or anything. Try to take a look of the muscles, how they move, how they interact, the kind of influence it has on the forming a real a creature. And if you plan right and you do your character modeling right and use these edge flows reproducing close to what they are in the real creatures, the better you would reproduce this creature and those effects. So another thing that's important is that as we are always working with subdivisions and squares and low poly cages, you have to remember that Cinema 4D, we always try to interpolate from one edge to another and make it rounder. So use it at your favor. If you want to define more some form, some area of your character, you would give more edges on that region. If you want to be more rounded, try to less edges on that area. As you've seen now in the video, I'm using for the eyes just a cube, but a cube with no subdivisions, and Cinema 4D always try to round the from one edge to the other using a cube inside a subdivision object. Will make the cube like a sphere. So instead of having lots of polygons, if you use a regular sphere and you have for some reason to convert it to a polygonal object, if you're using a sphere from the start, you have much more polygons than just a cube, which has just six polygons, and they work as a sphere inside the subdivision surface. So that's the kind of thing you would try to do to keep your model optimized. I've put some details on the character that are important for his form, like the glasses and anything, but I want to pay so much attention to those details, because I'm trying to show you more about character modeling than this hard surface modeling. But like the glasses are very important for the Minion character, so it's good to model them and to have a reference of how they will look like on their final shape. So what can I say more for you? You see that sometimes character modeling, as I've told you in the beginning of the video, is not about the tools you use, the techniques, but practice. You have to practice. If you practice a lot, try to challenge yourself and to build your skills from simple characters like this to more detailed characters. The minions are great characters, but they don't have many facial features like or nose or ears or eyebrows or a belly and a torso, and so it's a good character to start practicing modeling. And then when you master the techniques and how you do this character, then you can experiment through and always try to challenge yourself and experiment with different characters, more challenging characters, characters with more details, facial features, like clothes and whatever you want. Try to always evolve, try to practice a lot. It's not hard, it's not you don't have to use any mysterious technique, but you have to practice. That's like anything when you're dealing with art. If you want to draw, and if you draw and you like to draw and want to improve your drawing, you have to practice. If you paint and you want to improve your paintings, you have to practice. The same applies to the character modeling or modeling in the 3D in general, or any kind of art form. Practice brings you to improve your skills. I use Cinema 4D for a long time, and I'm always learning new things and new techniques. The tools I never use, because there's no right and wrong. There's the important. The goal is to have a nice model at the end. If you maybe you look at my videos and I say, wow, why he's using this tool? There's this tool that would make it more easy. Go ahead. Maybe I don't know this tool yet, or I'm not used to use this tool. But if you arrive and you are able to achieve a nice result, then that's the way you should go. That's no rights and wrongs. For example, you're seeing here that I've decided to model the gloves outside of the model. Sometimes when it's necessary, especially if you're dealing like game engines that for mobile games, and you have some kind of constraints about the number of polygons you're able to use, then you would try to model everything just in one object. But when not, it's totally perfect and acceptable to model different parts of your character and then assemble them together. Sometimes it would be even easier for you to rig this character when it's like this. Sometimes not, but rigging, like character modeling, it depends from character to character. But I just wanted to show that it's something you can use in your workflow, like if your character uses gloves and he'll never be naked, you can model, for example, his torso like just like the shirts, and the pants would be his legs, and you don't have to have the real legs of the character if they never would take these pants off. And so you can model the shirt and the pants, and then the head, and then assemble everything together in the end to have your model complete. What more can I say? I'm trying to give you as much tips as I can. Another thing that you look at now, that something that I use a lot is to change the tool axis. That it makes it's something that I took some time to discover and to begin using, but it makes your life much easier. When you can move your tool axis and then move your polygons or some group of polygons or objects from some different parts, not just from the middle of the object or the edge or the polygons. That's something that I took some time to find out. I don't know why, but when I find out, I use it all the time. A tool that I'm pretty sure that would be great for character modeling, but I didn't have the time and didn't make the effort to learn as I should and I want to do is the Polygon pen. That's I don't know exactly what release it was put inside Cinema 4D, but it's a really great tool, and I'm sure if I learn this tool and master this tool, it would help me a lot on my workflow. I use it a lot when I'm making some adjustments on my shape, but not for modeling. Just for stitch some join some points, or to move some polygons, or to delete some edges. But I'm pretty sure that it's I can do much more with this tool if I really understand how it works and I get used to. I will force myself to use more the Polygon pen tool, because it's a great tool. It's a really great tool, and I'm pretty sure that especially for character modeling, it will be very, very useful to understand this tool. But when you work for a long time using the same tools, it's almost automatic. You don't think about it, you just go to the tool and use it. Then you do it for a long time, and the new tools sometimes you forget, and because you don't know it as much as the older tools, then sometimes you just try to don't use it. I hope what I'm talking is making some sense. I hope it helps you in your learning process. If you have some doubts and some special questions that you want to make or you don't understand them, feel free to put your questions here on the comments, and subscribe to the channel. Make some critics if you don't like this tutorial, or like if you enjoyed it. It helps me to understand what I'm doing right and what I'm doing wrong, and how to improve the content of my channel, and how I would share with you my knowledge and help you to improve your modeling as well. That's it. Keep looking if you're enjoying till the end. It's almost in I will just put some details, the teeth, the tongue, and things like that, or some details on the glasses and things that are missing. I'm planning to rig this character and put the clothes, simulate the clothes and the hair and things like that. Maybe I can record this as well and share with you. If you think it helpful, leave your comments if you would like to see this, and I will be glad to share this with you as well. I hope you enjoy. Subscribe my channel, like, make comments, make critics. This is the channel is yours. I made this content to share my knowledge and also to discuss. Maybe you can teach me things as well. You can give me some advice. Why don't you try to do this and that on this part? Because as I told you, I'm always learning, and I know that I have lots yet to learn and to improve. So maybe you can help me as well, and I hope I am helping you at some degree. So thanks for watching my channel. Keep tuned, keep following, and sometimes I'm busy and I don't have time to make videos as much as I would like, but I will try to make whenever possible character modeling videos, because it forces me to practice as well, and it's nice to share and to see the reactions, people enjoying and telling me that they learned something with me, and I'm glad to do that, because I've learned a lot with people that share their knowledge. When I started, the YouTube was not so popular. I'm not a young guy, but there's always people who would write articles on the internet or on magazines or whatever, or even now on YouTube. I watch lots of tutorials, and I'm always learning, as I've told you, and this is my way give back what people gave me, what people taught me about Cinema 4D, about 3D and everything. And I hope I can make the same for people who are beginning and learning and need some kind of help that I can give. Okay, thank you again, and see you next time.